it was 1990, and I was stationed in the Navy. I was in San Diego. Any Navy people? All right, two. Right on, right. I was in the Navy, and I was about 20 years old, and my chief asked me this question. He said, "Hey, Perez, how would you like to be the guy that jumps into the ocean when bad things happen?" He didn't tell me much more, and I was 20, and I didn't really ask a lot of questions. I think my response was, cool. So I didn't really know what I was getting into. I went on to the command to check in for the course, and I didn't know what was expected of me. I did gather that swimming was involved, right? It was a Navy rescue swimmer school. And so in the first couple days, what happened was it became very clear to me there were 3 critical, essential skill sets that one needed to be able to accomplish this course. You needed to be physically fit, which I was, and you needed to be mentally tough, which I still am. And you needed to be a great swimmer. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying that I couldn't swim. I was okay. My big challenge, though, was I never really used swim gear before, dive gear. It was a huge learning curve for me. And one of my deficiencies, my main deficiency, was brought to my attention in our second day of training in pool conditioning. See, when you get there, they take your gear, they throw it at the deep end, and they say, go fetch. You go down, you sit on the bottom of the pool, you put your gear on correctly, and then you come up. Now, here's the thing. When you come up, you're supposed to clear your mask, and then you raise your hand. Pretty simple. Here's the challenge. Have you ever had a problem that you're trying to solve? And in order to solve it, all you do, you just simply need to use a specific tool. Your challenge, though, is you don't know the tool exists, let alone know how to use it. See, when he said clear your mask, I didn't know what he was talking about, and let alone know how to do it properly. So he kind of took me to the side in a very loving, nurturing way, like they are, and brought it to my attention. Son, we're starting in the pool tomorrow morning. You need to show us you know what you're doing with this simple task. Otherwise, we're sending you on your way to your command. You're sending you home. So while everybody else was rested up, I got to hang out with a couple of my team members, and they taught me how to clear my mask. During the course, I had to put a lot of deliberate, special time on my own to develop the abilities that I needed to achieve my goal. See, I look back at that experience, and it reminds me that it's a lot like life for us. A lot of times, we're not aware of the fact that we have growth opportunities in our lives until we find ourselves in a certain circumstance or a situation. It's the circumstance or the situation that makes us aware of a certain ability or a skill or an awareness or an understanding that we need to achieve in order for us to move forward. The other thing is this. Do you know how you get good at swimming? By swimming. See, it's not about running for miles, and it's not about doing push-ups for hours. The only way you get good at swimming is by swimming. So not only do we find ourselves in circumstances, a situation that awaken us, but sometimes we need to be very deliberate and intentional with our time and effort in certain areas to achieve the abilities needed for us to achieve our outcomes. Are you with me? Right? Individual commitment to a group effort, that's what makes a team work. My individual commitment to myself at that time was to develop the essential skills I needed to reach my goal. My commitment to my team was to help them reach their goal. We all have groups and individuals that we offer our individual commitment of support and service to in our personal and our professional lives. For us to move forward into the future, we need to look at how can we improve that individual commitment to be able to better support and serve each other. When I saw the theme, the future of the future, well, a couple things stood out to me. I'm not somebody that has special powers. I can't read into the future. I knew that I don't have a really cool car to turn into a time machine. And also, as I was thinking about it, I realized that there's a lot of ideas that could be on that menu of conversation of what the future holds for us. It really depends on who's weighing in on the conversation. Is it education reform? Is it job creation? Is it another financial crisis? Is it that maybe our nation, we finally get it together and we truly do celebrate each other's differences? As my friend Chris said this morning, you know what? Equality really does become a reality for us and not just a wonderful topic piece of conversation. Or maybe we go the other route and we see more and more examples of inequality and injustice in our country. Is it immigration reform? Is it more terrorist acts? I don't know if there's a right answer, but I believe there's a variable to the equation that we as a society need to fall in love again with, the human element. Whatever the future holds for us, there's one common denominator, us. So when I thought about it, for me, the future of the future is servant leadership. See, we are all given the opportunities every day. We could be experts on any given topic in as little as a weekend. We have so many resources at our fingertips that it's overwhelming. We've seen breakthroughs in medicine, in science, and education. The 21st century has afforded you and I wonderful opportunities. We can hold the vast world that we live in the palm of our hand. And as wonderful as that is, I feel we've taken 2 or 3 steps back in how we interact with one another, how we view one another, how we treat one another. Right? Every day we're posting and we're liking, and you're tweeting, and you're making connections. And somebody just added you to their circles. But are they quality? Are they real? Perhaps we need to hit the reset button and evaluate how balanced we are living between new 21st century tools that allow us to navigate and get things done in our new world, but yet also be true and respect the old school ideas of how we built relationships and established trust. And understand that when you click the accept button, it just does not reward you with the same benefit that a handshake does. Relationships are harder and harder. We see it in schools, we see it in our youth, and that's why servant leadership is so important for us as a society to get a fundamental understanding about so we can move forward, to understand how is it relevant to us as individuals and in our community. How do we implement some of those qualities into our lives so we can train those that are coming up behind us to prepare them for career and for life. Servant leadership is about a long-term transformational approach towards life, towards work. It's about creating positive change in your community, positive change in the lives of somebody else. It's about making a difference to give more than you receive, to help someone else achieve success, help an organization achieve success. Be focused on being significant over achieving personal success. And you know what? As elementary as those ideas are, I fear that our society is moving further and further away from those core principles. And unfortunately, we're given examples every day of people in decision-making roles by their actions, by their words. We see examples of distrust. We see people being devalued, a total disregard of people's needs and their wants and their desires, the same people that these leaders are supposed to be serving. Robert Greenleaf taught us that good leaders must first become good servants. In a day and age of social media, we're all given opportunities to create a platform, to join in a conversation, share our ideas, our message, and the platform allows us to be seen as experts and leaders, maybe even celebrities. I find it interesting as I go and I talk with people and I say, listen, if you had the opportunity to invest time and money and you could develop some leadership skills, how many would be on board with that? And the hands go, oh, leadership. And when I say, well, what about investing time and money to improve how you are as a servant? Well, not so much. And what's interesting about that is when you study leadership, when you study great leaders, what you find is all that great leaders ever do is know how to serve their people. You can't be one without the other. Every day, you and I are given opportunities to extend our hand and help people get better, to lift them up. The question is, do people let you help them because they have to, or do people let you help them because they want to? People want to let you help them when they know you're sincere about really wanting them to achieve success. People want to let you help them when they see you as an example of what can be, that they see you being in alignment with your beliefs and your values. Is everybody going to want our help? No. But as individuals, we have to see, are we being the very best example to those that we do connect with, that we do have relationships with? It's not about being perfect and living a perfect life. I fall short every day. As a leader, as a dad, as a husband, I have childlike tendencies. But I strive for excellence to achieve greatness and hopefully maintain it. We've all heard that we're all products of our environment, and I strongly disagree with that. I believe that we are products of the influences in our environment. So the question is, who shaped your world, and whose world are you shaping, and how are you shaping it? Dr. John C. Maxwell teaches us when you increase your influence, you increase your leadership. Understanding what servant leadership is allows us to increase our influence with those that we support and we serve. Understanding the qualities, it allows us to understand what qualities go into that we could hold on to 2 or 3 and say, you know what, these two right here, if I'm intentional and deliberate in improving those 2 areas in my life, and I could go from good to great in these 2 areas, how much better would I be for my family? How much better could I serve my community? How much better would our future be if we all could identify 2 or 3 areas to improve? Servant leadership is about understanding how important it is to be a great listener. You want to really let somebody know how much you value them, how much they mean to you? We all have room for improvement in the area of our active listening skills. I was at a training last week, and the speaker talked about the idea of we all understand the open door policy, but we need to embrace the open ear policy. It's about empathy. We all have room for improvement in the area of empathy, myself included. But it's not just about going, I know what you're going through. It's about us being humble and vulnerable enough to say, I know what you're going through because I've gone through something too. I'm going through something right now. It's about understanding how to extend your hand, because healing starts when 2 people come together. We've all been through something, and we know how powerful it is when people come together. Healing starts with that human connection. It's about being present in the moment, increasing our awareness in ourselves, in others, in our community. We've all been at dinner, and we've seen the family sitting at dinner where there's no conversation, there's no dialogue, because everybody's got their face plastered in their little devices, yes? Everybody's so concerned that they're missing out on something out there somewhere else with somebody, and it's not even real. And what they're really missing out on is the power of conversation and the stimulation of new ideas, about creating memories. Sometimes it's okay for us to be in the moment and just keep it for ourselves. We don't have to share everything with the world. It's about understanding responsibility takes sacrifice, but it's that sacrifice. It's non-negotiable for us to see the changes that we want. It's about understanding that, you know what, whatever happened to thank you and please. When did we become so entitled and so preoccupied and where everything's an inconvenience that we can't appreciate one another and see one another for who we are, human beings? Servant leadership is understanding that you're a student of the process and personal growth. But what's more important than personal growth is what you're doing with what you learn. How do you implement what you learn into your life? How are you sharing it with other people and inspiring them and being an example? See, there is a reason why people get personal trainers and coaches and instructors. We want to be shown how to do it the right way, and we want to be challenged to be our very best. The future depends on us understanding that for us to increase how we support one another and how we connect with one another, it starts here. And when you understand what servant leadership is, that helps you understand how to connect with somebody where it matters most. It's been said that when you capture their heart, you capture their mind. And I hope today, with my small amount of time, I was able to do that today. Capture your heart for a little bit in order to capture mine. I leave you with a challenge. Individual commitment to a group effort, that's what makes a team work. Here's my challenge, folks. How are you going to improve your individual commitment to those that you support and that you serve in 2016? Colorado Springs, I thank you for your time. I hope you have a wonderful conference. Enjoy your weekend. Go Cubs.